beta-carotene, alpha-carotene, astaxanthin, lutein, lycopene, quercetin, and much more. Save your money, save your time. Compare, and you'll find that there is no more researched or superior product available on the market today. Call now and get your discount prices on your next Bio-Superfood at 303-257-7576, 303-257-7576, or Bio-Superfood at hotmail.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Phillips, founder of the Green Herb.
All of God's people have a ministry, and it's a trick of our enemy to keep God's people sick and worn out to hinder their ability to minister. We are often judgmental toward people who are addicted to booze, cigarettes, and drugs, but we at the Green Herb have found that most of God's people are unknowingly addicted to the two most addictive products in America, sugar and soda pop. If you have a sickness or disease, or if you're just tired a lot, the Green Herb has an herbal product that is formulated just for you, and it's just $15.95. Come by the Green Herb, located in Wheat Ridge, Colorado, on the I-70 Frontage Road North, 1 mile west of Kipling, or call 888-765-HERB. That's 888-765-4372, or go to our website, www.thegreenherb.com, and be sure to listen to the Green Herb Show with Linda and Dr. Cass every Tuesday at 1 o'clock on KHNC.
In Nigeria, Muslims are a Christian evangelist in his own home, while in Florida, a Muslim is sentenced to life for setting his own wife on fire. The Department of Homeland Security is quietly buying enough weapons, ammo, and explosives to equip a small army. What exactly did all those mammoth corporations get in exchange for their expensive Olympic sponsorship deals? Donald Trump says that a look at Obama's records may reveal, quote, one of the great cons of all times, and 11 things that can happen when you allow your country to become enslaved to the banksters. My name is Howard Riell, and this is Riell Truth. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, streaming live around the world at AmericanNewsNet.com, and on Facebook, and on YouTube, and on Riell TV, and in the book, Riell Truth, Stay Angry. And, of course, as always, broadcasting out across the Colorado Front Range on KHNC, Johnstown, Colorado, 1360 AM The Lion. The call-in number has not changed, 877-254-7524. My friends, welcome back to a brand new week. 1 week from this Thursday, August 23rd, we will be celebrating, 2 days early, who's watching, we'll be celebrating our 4th anniversary on the air with Riell Truth. My special guest for the full hour. Every day, you hear me discussing his articles, either on the Economic Collapse blog or the End of the American Dream blog. Attorney Michael T. Snyder, the author of both of those blogs, will be here on Riell Truth to look at the year ahead and what kinds of catastrophes and calamities might be befalling this nation. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be entertaining. It's going to be scary. It's going to be depressing. And it's going to be radio you absolutely do not want to miss. Item from Truth Out. Global corporations like Dow Chemical, Adidas, and McDonald's have paid upwards of $100 million to sponsor the 2012 London Games and associate themselves with the Olympic brand. But with their brands already well established, what do corporations get in exchange for these expensive sponsorship deals? According to David Zirin, sports writer and columnist for The Nation, the payoff comes through, quote, corporate sin washing. More than any other enterprise, if a company associates itself with the Olympics, it really creates a positive feeling in the mind of the consumer, he says. But if you look at the main sponsors that the International Olympic Committee has brought on board, you see companies like Dow Chemical, British Petroleum, McDonald's, Adidas. These companies, Zirin tells the Center for Media and Democracy, are some of, quote, the worst corporate criminals, unquote, in need of Olympic absolution, unquote. My friends, it all ties together. According to this guy, David Zirin, you will feel better about a company if they sponsor the Olympics. Is that true? Well, it may well be true. You will feel better as a consumer about a particular product if you see a celebrity you like endorsing it, right? You will. You'll feel better about a political candidate if you see him with his wife and children and their puppy, right? Of course you will. One little question. Why? Why? I'm waiting for an answer. If a company like Dow Chemical or British Petroleum or any other company gives money to the Olympics, why does that make you feel better about that company? If indeed Mr. Zirin is true and these companies and others have done terrible things, then why don't we view them as companies that have done terrible things? Why do we allow ourselves to be tranquilized by the association with the Olympics? A political candidate. He goes on air with his wife, children, and their cute little puppy, and so you feel good about him. What about the fact that his policies may be destroying your city or state or nation? What about the fact that he may lie on a regular basis? What about the fact that he's pulling the wool over our eyes and he really has no intention of representing us because he wants in with the powers that be? Do you ever stop to think about these things? I want us to stop being reflexive in the way we associate with the world. I don't want you to react reflexively. I want you to stop, and I want you to think. Instead of looking at a presidential candidate or any candidate, Senate, Congress, mayor, and thinking, he looks like he'll do a good job. Well, what the hell does that mean? You can't tell by looking at someone if he's going to do a good job. He's a really good speaker. So what? So was Adolf Hitler. He's got a puppy. Big deal. When it comes to voting for a politician, look at the record. Look at the positions on real issues. That is how you make a decision about whom to vote for. When you think about giving your money to a corporation, don't be whitewashed by the fact that they gave money to something you like. Look at what the corporation does. Is it worthy of your support? Speaking of not being worthy of your support, item from Reuters Dateline Gaza. The Islamist group Hamas, stunned by Egypt's closure of its border with Gaza, said on Sunday the new Islamist leadership in Cairo is imposing the same pain on the Palestinian enclave as ousted former President Hosni Mubarak. Unquote. My friends, get ready to duck, because here comes some truth. The Arab world doesn't give a damn about the Palestinians. If you thought they did, then you swallowed the lies, hook, line, and sinker. This is obvious. Egyptians don't care about Gaza. They don't care about the Palestinians. Egyptians care about? Yes, Egyptians! Surprise! People throughout the Arab world have been saying, Israel is a problem because of the way they treat the Palestinians. And those here in America and the West who are not too bright or pretty gullible, we accept that and go, yeah. Well, it's wrong. Arabs always are killing Arabs. The only time they interrupt is when they want to join together and oppose Israel or America. Arabs don't give a rat's butt about other Arabs. They give a rat's butt about each other. And so the next time you hear some fool say Israel is the obstacle to peace in the Middle East because of the way they treat the Palestinians, you tell him for me, better yet tell him for yourself, that he's a fool and or a liar. The obstacle to peace in the Middle East is the Arab psyche. It's Arab society. It's a Muslim holy book that tells them to wage war on everyone. Just so happens that Israel is there, and so Israel gets blamed. If Trenton, New Jersey was located in the Middle East, Trenton, New Jersey would be blamed. And we'd say those damn Trentonians, they are the obstacle to peace in the Middle East. And it sounds ridiculous, I agree. It's just as ludicrous when you say Israel. We've got a lot to go over today. We're going to go over it quickly and efficiently. You're listening to Riell Truth. Buckle up. We'll be right back.
Now this is the testimony of John when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" He confessed and did not deny, but confessed, "I am not the Messiah." And they asked him, "What then? Are you Elijah?" He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" And he answered, "No." The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 19 through 21.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution.
Restore Health and Counseling salutes the men and women in uniform who've answered the call for our freedoms. Let's give them the hero's welcome they deserve, as they have fought hard to restore peace. America's troops are our angels of protection, so stand up and salute them proudly. That's from Restore Health and Counseling at 4705 Paris Street, serving Northeast Denver with complete substance abuse counseling for adolescent to adult and for private as well as professional drug, alcohol screening and treatment and rehabilitation. Visit us at www.rhctherapy.com or call 303-373-1188. Whether you're in automotive, sporting goods, hardware, health, wellness, electrical, electronics, construction, carpet cleaning, legal, or animal care, and offer exceptional customer service and provide quality services or goods, you're honest, reliable, and professional. If you have a business, we have the customers. Let us put you in touch with our loyal, supportive, and dedicated listeners today. They're waiting to hear from you. It's inexpensive. It's effective. Call KHNC at 1-800-205-6245.
Up in New York, once in a while, I used to hear the radio show of a guy named John Gambling. He's very, very famous in New York. He's got talk radio. He recently had Donald Trump on the show. Donald Trump has been outspoken about a number of things, including Barack Obama. Let's listen to what Donald Trump has to say to John Gambling about Barack Obama, what he'd like to see, what he hasn't seen, and what Obama just might be perpetrating against the American people. Let's listen.
WOR. If Obama opened up his records, maybe Mitch should give his returns, and that would be a great trade. I'd like to see his college records. I'd like to see his college applications. I'd like to see something about his past, which many people know nothing about. If Obama gives some of his sealed records, where all of this money has been spent to keep them sealed, I would certainly make that trade. I think that's a great trade.
The one, the only Donald Trump this morning here on the John Gambling Show. Mr. Trump, good morning, sir.
Good morning, John.
How are you, buddy?
How are you?
I'm all right. Had an interesting conversation with Wayne Root yesterday about this whole Columbia-Harvard transcript thing, and
right.
Boy, a lot of questions there.
A lot of questions. A lot of money is being spent by Obama to keep it sealed. And everyone wants to get at it. And I tell you what, they talk about tax returns. This is bigger than tax returns. So
it must be damning.
Well, I think it's damning. I've been saying it for a long time. I mean, he hasn't proven a thing, and there's a whole this could be one of the great cons of all time. So let's see what happens. But a lot of people want to see those records, and they want to see the college records, and in particular the college applications.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's a hell of a story, and if some of the allegations or questions turn out to be true about citizenship and the like,
well, then he's not president.
Well, then what the heck do you do about all the past acts that have taken place?
You have to figure that out. But,
really?
I mean, the fact is he wouldn't be president very long. So that would be, one of the, as I said, one of the great cons ever perpetrated on this country.
Or
anywhere else.
Yeah, anywhere else in the world probably. I'm not sure throughout history because there have been some good cons, but this one would be right up near the top. Harry Reid, can you imagine he just kind of throws the bomb into the middle of the fire?
Well, it was a tough one. I mean, for him to come out and say that, I know Harry Reid, and I've actually gotten along very well with Harry Reid, but that was a tough one for him to come out and say, and I probably think he wishes he didn't say it, but you never know about that. He might like it.
Yeah, I mean, to say that Mitt Romney hasn't paid taxes with no proof to back that up.
Which, as I understand it, is totally false and not fair to have said. And, it's a rough game, and they're playing it rougher than ever before. They played it very rough against Hillary, and this is even rougher. I've always heard that the Hillary campaign was the dirtiest campaign ever, what they did to Hillary. And frankly, I think this is going to be worse.
Is Romney going to be able to stand the fight?
I think he will. I think he's a good man under pressure. I watched in Florida where he was down and he had to go and he had to do it because he was in big trouble. And he won both debates and he really stood up. I mean, I think he handles pressure well. So I think he will do it, yes.
Well, I certainly hope so as well. And how important do you think Donald the VP nom is?
Well, I think it's important. I think you really have to pick somebody from a swing state who's going to win one of those.
All right, the VP has already been picked. But Donald Trump puts it right on the line. If Obama has been lying, and it certainly looks like he's been lying, then it is one of the great cons of all time. And Obama should go to jail, together with all the people who put him up there knowing that he wasn't born in the United States. I would love to see the lot of them tossed in a cell. That's justice. Item from Politico, Dateline, Pueblo, Colorado. President Obama, while vilifying Mitt Romney for opposing the auto industry bailout, bragged about the success of his decision to provide government assistance and said he now wants to see every manufacturing industry come roaring back. I said, I believe in American workers. I believe in this American industry, and now the American auto industry has come roaring back, he said. Now I want to do the same thing with manufacturing jobs, not just in the auto industry, but in every industry. Unquote. My friends, forgive me for being out of touch with what's happening in the world. When did the auto industry come roaring back? I haven't heard about it. Has it come roaring back? When? By how much? Why? Does he mean that if companies aren't shuttering their facilities, then they're roaring back? As far as I know, the government's car, the Volt, was a flop. As far as I know, General Motors is still losing money. Mr. Obama, are you using drugs that somehow impair your ability to focus on reality? If our auto industry is coming back, I would have been the first to tell you about it. And I would have given credit where credit was due. Auto industry is not coming back, and Mr. Obama is not, for a minute, going to tell us the truth. Item from the Atlas Shrugg's website. I quote, the devout Muslim group Boko Haram, which means books bad or Western education is sinful, mercilessly slaughter Christians, terrorize with impunity, and bomb the country in the cause of Islam. Boko Haram was responsible for at least 450 killings in Nigeria. It was also reported that they'd been responsible for over 620 deaths over the first 6 months of 2012. In the first few years of operation, 10,000 people are reported to have died. Despite this, Obama continues his pro-Sharia, pro-jihad, anti-freedom foreign policy agenda and refuses to name Boko Haram a terrorist organization. If not them, who? Suspected Boko Haram gunmen kill evangelist in Maiduguri, Nigeria, from Waho, Naija. Gunmen suspected to be members of Boko Haram sect on Monday killed an evangelist with a Pentecostal church in Maiduguri, Ali Samari. Evangelist Samari, 57, was with the Good News Church, Maiduguri, and was reportedly killed at his Mafoni residence at exactly 6:30 p.m. An eyewitness said the evangelist, who equally repairs wristwatches at the post office area of the town, was trailed to his house by two gunmen after closing from work. Unquote. Item from journalist Benjamin Fulford. I quote, the side of the financial industry that has long valued integrity, honesty, and fairness, stealthily preparing to purge the criminal fraudsters who turn their industry into a giant orgy of criminal looting. The Federal Reserve Board, the European Central Bank, and the Bank for International Settlements are thus now facing an existential crisis. That's because multiple lawsuits and criminal investigations are closing in from all sides. The Neil Keenan lawsuit is one of the most important one of those because it reveals the true motives of the Kennedy and countless other assassinations and the systematic looting of the global collateral accounts by a tiny but powerful mafia group. Keenan has returned from a trip to Indonesia with a whole raft of documents revealing the true extent of the criminality of the bankster families that own the Federal Reserve Board.
Work is now continuing to make sure a U.S. court can be given clear jurisdiction on this case so that an uncorruptible judge can finally deliver justice. Even if this lawsuit remains in limbo as various delaying tactics continue to be deployed, the writing is still on the wall for the cabal. Unquote. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think these guys are too rich, too connected for the writing to be on the wall for them. They aren't, unfortunately, going anywhere. Item from the Blaze. Hey, Obama, I built my business by myself. You lousy, incompetent excuse for a president. These are the words that may have earned Oswego, Oregon business owner Kevin Kerwin, who calls himself Kevin the Geek, a palm to the face. Indeed, Kerwin claims that a sign he posted outside his store bearing precisely these blunt words induced the woman to enter his store with no intention to do anything other than slap him for bad-mouthing Obama. Stop! My friends, this is the liberal mind. Liberals are friends. They respect everybody. They respect freedom of speech as long as you don't disagree with them. If you do, the wrath of the gods will descend upon you. Liberals are the ones who want to ban things. Liberals are the ones who want to censor things. Liberals are the ones who will slash and burn in a political campaign rather than deal with issues. And yes, liberals are the ones who will slap you if you have the quote-unquote wrong opinion. Item from Information Liberation, Michael Swade reporting. A false flag is coming soon, so says Suzanne Posel. Recently, the Department of Homeland Security placed a solicitation by way of the Transportation Safety Administration for 700 pounds of high-density ammonium nitrate and 700 pounds of A5 flake RDX. With the delivery date scheduled for August 31, could DHS be planning a false flag operation attack involving a planted homemade bomb? When creating a makeshift terrorist bomb, ammonium nitrate is an integral ingredient. The DHS was given oversight of procurement of ammonium nitrate by Congress. They requested they regulate the sale and transfer of ammonium nitrate by an ammonium nitrate facility to prevent the misappropriation or use of ammonium nitrate in an act of terrorism. The ammonium nitrate security program focuses on preventing a terrorist attack by use of ammonium nitrate in a homemade bomb by requiring its sale and those that purchase it be registered with the DHS. Purchasers are screened against the terrorist screening database. In the solicitation, DHS did not specify information that the corporation seeking to apply to a bid would need. In addition, DHS is requesting that high-density ammonium nitrate and RDX be delivered to an undisclosed government facility in downtown Atlantic City, New Jersey. Unquote. Why the secrecy? Why the need for ammonium nitrate? My friends, why? How about some transparency in government? Item, a related item. Fears that federal authorities are preparing for massive civil unrest have increased after it was revealed the Department of Homeland Security is planning to buy a further 750 million rounds of ammo in addition to the 450 million rounds of hollow point bullets already purchased earlier this year. A solicitation originally issued by the DHS in April but updated on Friday calls on suppliers to provide a plethora of different types of ammunition, including 357 mag rounds that are able to penetrate walls, unquote. Sounds to me like someone is preparing for war. Just one tiny, itsy-bitsy little snag. The people against whom they'll probably be going to war? That's us. Item from the Daily Mail. 3 members of America's Special Operations Forces were killed by a member of the Afghan police in the country's Helmand province this morning. This is from last week. An Afghan police commander opened fire on the 3 Americans after inviting them to dinner at his outpost under the pretext of having a meeting to discuss security. Another service member was injured in the ambush in southern Afghanistan, which is the 3rd deadly attack on coalition forces this week, unquote. My friends, you must remember the story I told several times on this show. It's a parable. scorpion and a frog, someplace in the Middle East, right on the shore. And the scorpion says to the frog, hey, how about letting me get on your back and you swim me across the river? And the frog says, don't be ridiculous. I'm not stupid. If I let you get on my back, you're going to sting me and kill me. And the scorpion says, think for a minute. If we're in the middle of the river and I sting you and kill you, I'll drown too. The frog says, you know what? You're right. Okay, hop on. So the scorpion gets on the frog's back, and the frog swims across the river, and as he gets to the middle of the river, zing! The scorpion stings him. And as they begin to fall beneath the waves, the frog looks up and says, hey, what about what you said? And the scorpion says, schmuck, this is the Middle East. You're making friends with Arab countries, with Muslim countries. You're letting them get up on your back. It's the Middle East. It's not the Middle West. In the Midwest, you have civilized people sitting down, hammering out a deal, coming to an understanding over coffee and cake. Good. Middle East is different. All that matters is strength and weakness. If you're strong, you may have peace for a while. If you're weak, you're dead. America continues to send money, personnel over there to prop up these Arab nations, and they turn on us. To no one's surprise, except maybe Hillary Clinton's. We'll be back.
Just a good old boy. Hi, I'm Eric Cedarstrom. For over a decade, I've been the CEO, shipping clerk, and janitor of the Patriot Trading Group. And in that time, I've made friends with tens of thousands of like-minded individuals all over this country, most like me, trying to raise a family, run a business, and make sense out of a world gone mad. I'm proud of the fact that through stock bubbles, housing bubbles, and financial chaos, our customers are prospering and doing very well. By keeping our prices fair and our service fast, we find that 80% of our customers not only reorder, but they tell their friends. Don't be fooled by hype and high pressure. Do business with a company you can trust. Call the Patriot Trading Group at 1-800-951-0592 or check out our website at allamericangold.com. You'll be treated with honesty and respect. You have my word on it. I'm Eric Cedarstrom, CEO, shipping clerk, and janitor.
Making their way the only way they know how.
And of his fullness we have all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, He has declared Him. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 16.
No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque or reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. Article 1, Section 10.
The Beth Messiah congregation invites you to come and experience a Messianic Roots biblically based congregational fellowship as we observe God's Shabbat in Messiah Yeshua. Praise and worship services begin at 10:30 a.m., followed by an Oneg Shabbat meal, mid-Rosh, and fellowship. Beth Messiah congregation is located at 8333 Acoma Way in North Denver. You can find out more information by calling 1-800-205-6245. Everyone's welcome, so join us this Shabbat. And Shabbat Shalom, good Sabbath. CINN Stations in Alt salutes our troops. Whether you're for the war or against it, they're still there. These men and women deserve more than our support. They deserve the comfort of home. Send a military care package today. Just type military care package into a search engine. Point and click. Let's show our troops we care. This message from CINN Stations in Alt, wishing Godspeed to our fighting men and women and thanking them for their triumphs and their sacrifices.
My friends, welcome back to Riell Truth. How do we solve all the problems facing us? I have the answer. Now, you think I'm joking. But I'm not. I have the answer. How can America begin to solve its problems? We can have a leader of America who stands up in front of a microphone in front of the world and says we're done being even-handed regarding Israel. We've finally got to admit that the Israelis just want to live peaceful lives and mind their own business, and the Palestinians and the surrounding Arab countries want to wage jihad against Israel. And so, rather than be even-handed, we will now throw our support 140% behind Israel, and we will slap down any Arab nation that threatens it. When America blesses the Jewish people instead of curses them, then America will be blessed. One little wrinkle, we've got a guy named Barack Obama in the White House, and he's running for re-election. He has been one of the most anti-Israel presidents ever. If you don't believe me, listen to this video, which you will find linked on my Facebook page.
Since Israel's creation in 1948, Arabs have conducted 3 unprovoked wars to destroy the Jewish state. But today, Israel faces the greatest threat to its existence in its 63-year history. From Egypt to Turkey, from Gaza to Iran, Israel's enemies are on the rise.
إسرائيل هي عدونا، الموت لإسرائيل.
سيقتلهم المسلمون ويختبئ اليهودي وراء الحجر والشجر فينادي الحجر والشجر قائلا يا مسلم يا عبد الله هذا يهودي خلفي.
Islamic terrorist forces armed with more than 50,000 rockets now encircle the tiny nation and call openly for its extermination. In these perilous times, Israel needs its ally, the United States, more than ever. But can it count on America's president? From Israel's beginning, the United States has been the indispensable ally of this single democracy among the repressive dictatorships of the Middle East. American presidents through the decades have reaffirmed that special relationship until the election of Barack Obama. From his first day in office, Obama has distinguished himself by his open hostility towards America's staunchest ally. He has told Jews they can't build homes in Jerusalem, the capital of Israel and the spiritual center of Judaism for thousands of years.
The United States does not accept the legitimacy of continued Israeli settlements. It is time for these settlements to stop.
He forced the Jewish state to negotiate with the Palestinian terror organization Hamas in the so-called peace process. Hamas has sworn to obliterate Israel.
Hamas exists to destroy Israel. Their mission is to kill Israelis, to kill Jews.
While Israel faces an enemy sworn to destroy it, Obama has demanded that Israel surrender its right to negotiate defensible borders. He said that its borders must revert to the lines that existed before the second Arab aggression.
The borders of Israel and Palestine should be based on the 1967 lines with mutually agreed swaps.
That leaves Israel an 8-mile strip. You go ahead and try to defend that. You can't. If everyone around you is peaceful, you're good. If everyone is screaming, kill the Jews, you're dead.
Allah, ya Allah, احصل يهود عددا واقتلهم بددا ولا تغادر منهم أحدا.
While appeasing Israel's enemies, Obama has dealt harshly with Israel's prime minister since their first meeting in May 2009. Obama treated Benjamin Netanyahu to a series of humiliating snubs, including presenting him with a list of demands and then leaving him to mull them over while he went to dinner with his family. There has been no such tension between Obama and the Jew-hating Turkish Prime Minister, Recep Erdogan, whose rhetoric toward Israel is increasingly threatening. After Israel intercepted a terrorist flotilla trying to break the Gaza arms blockade, Erdogan called it cause for war and said Israel had to pay a price for its aggression and crimes. The Obama administration then pressured Israel to apologize to Turkey over the incident. Throughout the upheavals of the so-called Arab Spring, Obama refused to help the democratic opposition forces of Israel's enemies, Iran and Syria, but led the charge against Libyan strongman Muammar Gaddafi.
Today we can definitively say that the Gaddafi regime has come to an end.
By overthrowing Gaddafi, Obama delivered another Arab country into the hands of Jew-hating Islamists and America's enemies. In the aftermath of the U.S.-sponsored intervention in Libya, as many as 20,000 shoulder-held surface-to-air missiles went missing. Each one is capable of shooting down a commercial airliner. Some of them have already turned up in the Sinai Peninsula on their way to the terrorist regime in Gaza. And thanks to Obama's intervention in Egypt, leading to the ouster of America's ally President Mubarak, the Hitler-admiring Muslim Brotherhood is now the most powerful political force in the country. This is reminiscent of former President Carter's unseating of the shore of Iran in 1979, which paved the way for the Ayatollahs and the Islamic Jihad that led to 9/11. Like the Iranian regime, the Muslim Brotherhood has called for war with Israel to wipe it from the face of the earth. The spiritual leader of the Brotherhood, who recently led prayers for 1 million Muslims in Tahrir Square, has urged his followers to finish the job Hitler started.
Allah سلط عليهم طوال التاريخ من يؤدبهم نتيجة إفسادهم. آخر تأديب كان تأديب هتلر، والمرة القادمة إن شاء الله ستكون على أيدي المؤمنين.
With Mubarak gone, the new regime has restored the relations with Iran that had been severed for 35 years, ended the arms blockade of Gaza, and merely looked on while the Israeli embassy in Cairo was stormed and overrun by agents of the Brotherhood. And following the overthrow of Mubarak, an emboldened Hamas resumed firing rockets into Israel.
All right, my friends, I'm going to let you watch the rest of this video on your own. Again, you'll find it linked on my Facebook page. You'll find it on YouTube. The headline is Obama, the anti-Israel president. We've got an election coming up. If you don't give a rat's ass about Israel, then feel free to go ahead and vote for Obama. You must also not give a rat's ass about America, though. Item from Atlas Shrugs. Attempted honor murderer Khalid Mohd had threatened his wife earlier, making her wheelbarrow dirt from the front yard to fill a swimming pool in back of their Crestwood Avenue home and telling her he would kill her and bury her there. Sometime clutching burn-scarred fingers to her face, Rima Jamal spoke softly in a video recording to say what she believed would happen to the husband who set her on fire. To get tortured, the same as I got tortured, she said. Prosecutors played the recording at Wednesday's sentencings for Khalid Mohd, 41, who was convicted in June of setting his wife on fire because she wanted his help staying in the United States. He was sentenced to life in prison. Circuit Judge Patty Christensen said the act was a window into the man. That tells me that person has no soul, she said. Throughout the hearing, Mohd appeared smug and was often argumentative with the lead prosecutor and during the judge's comments. Unquote. My friends, don't worry. Other Muslims aren't like him. Not at all. Not even close. Not even reminiscent. They're all real different. We'll be back.
The Beth Messiah Congregation invites you to come and experience a Messianic Roots biblically based congregational fellowship as we observe God's Shabbat in Messiah Yeshua. Praise and worship services begin at 10:30 a.m., followed by an Oneg Shabbat meal mid-Rosh and fellowship. Beth Messiah Congregation is located at 8333 Acoma Way in North Denver. You can find out more information by calling 1-800-205-6245. Everyone's welcome, so join us this Shabbat. And Shabbat Shalom, good Sabbath.
An emergency preparedness plan for your home, car, school, and office is a must. Knowing how to store water safely, survive extreme temperature changes, provide reliable shelter, first aid, and sanitation is critical. Knowing where to get the best lights, radios, and other supplies is easy. Ferris Survival, located at 3366 South Broadway, is a professional, reputable, full-service business providing realistic preparedness supplies at affordable prices. Stop by, go online, or call 303-781-0343, 866-781-0343. If you're spending hard-earned money on supplements, you need to know about BioSuperfood because you're probably shortchanging yourself on nutrition and value. If you're buying products claiming to provide DNA protection from radiation, you're getting ripped off by inferior copycat products because there's no other product developed or researched like BioSuperfood. BioSuperfood is one complete superfood product that addresses radiation poisoning, allergies, arthritis, diabetes, high blood pressure, and other degenerative diseases. BioSuperfood helps digestion, decreases pain and inflammation, increases flexibility, improves heart health and brain function. It boosts your immune system and even inhibits the AIDS virus and cancerous cells. It's an antibacterial, antifungal, and anti-inflammatory. BioSuperfood is not another supplement. It's a whole food and contains over 5,000 nutrients. Call now and ask about your special discounts on your BioSuperfood purchase at 303-257-7576. That's 303-257-7576 or biosuperfood@hotmail.com.
He was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 10 through 13.
Friends, I'm going to do two things for you that you will thank me for. Number one, I'm going to give you a website called runawayslavemovie.com. Runawayslavemovie.com. You're going to go there, you're going to watch this trailer. Second nice thing I'm going to do, just because I like you, I'm going to play the trailer for you right now. It's 2 minutes long. Obviously, there's a lot more effect if you can look at it, but I'm on radio. This is a movie that is not going to get major publicity. It's not going to be in every movie theater across America like The Avengers or Batman. But it's a vitally important movie for everyone to see. Okay? That's all I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to play it for you now. I want you to go to the website after. You'll find a link. I put the link last week on my Facebook page, Riell Truth Radio. But you don't need that link. Go to runawayslavemovie.com. Watch the 2-minute trailer, and here it is.
I had been led to believe that all black people were supposed to think a certain way.
Have the sons and daughters of former slaves traded one form of slavery for yet another?
Look at the incarceration rates. Look at the dropout rates. We're going in the wrong direction.
Somehow down racial lines, we're still divided. The question has to be why.
The community organizers, religious leaders, political leaders are all complicit in maintaining a system that has kept our community down.
So the color of our skin doesn't really keep us back now. What does?
I think his attitude, the size and scope and reach of government is the new plantation.
Are we too dependent upon government as a community?
The government, honestly, is not for the black community.
The black family, which survived centuries of slavery and generations of Jim Crow, has started coming apart since the welfare state spread from the 1960s.
We need to understand that government is not God.
Today we are going to concentrate on the good things in America. We don't want the government enslaving us anymore.
The engaged electorate is moving back to the founding fathers and away from progressivism.
We need to change our mentality as a people.
Progressivism is a massive centralized government where they have the power, but we have very little rights.
Run away from socialism. Run away from progressivism. Run away. Run! We're free, but we have to act like it.
RunawaySlaveMovie.com. Go there. It'll tell you where you can see it in the theaters. You may be able to buy, I'm sure you can, a DVD. One way or another, it talks about the evils of big government. Big government enslaves all of us. My friends, doesn't matter what your race is. It enslaves all of us by its very nature, it does. Watch the trailer. Item from the Economic Collapse blog, and I hasten to remind you that next week, next Thursday, not this Thursday, but a week from this Thursday, I will have the author, Michael Snyder of the Economic Collapse blog and the End of the American Dream blog, will be my guest for our 4th anniversary show. Right now, item from the Economic Collapse blog. Why are Greece, Spain, Italy, Portugal, and so many other countries experiencing depression-like conditions right now? It's because they have too much debt. Why do they have too much debt? It's because they allowed themselves to become enslaved to the bankers. Borrowing money from the bankers can allow a nation to have a high standard of living in the short term, but it always results in a lower standard of living in the long term. Why is that? It's because you always have to pay back more money than you borrowed. And when you get to the point of having a debt-to-GDP ratio in excess of 100%, you are basically drowning in debt. Huge amounts of money that could be going to providing essential services and stimulating your economy are now going to service your horrific debt. Today's citizens in Greece, Spain, Portugal, and Italy are experiencing a standard of living far below what they should be because the bankers have trapped them in endless debt spirals. Sadly, the vast majority of the people living in those countries have absolutely no idea what is at the root of their problems. The truth is, there's no sovereign nation on earth ever has to borrow a single penny from anyone. In theory, there's nothing stopping the government from printing up debt-free money and spending it into circulation. But that's not the way our world works. Instead, our national governments borrow money that's been zapped into existence out of thin air by central banks. Now, what kind of sense does that make? Why don't our governments just create the money themselves? If the government of Greece had been directly issuing debt-free Greek currency all these years, they would have a national debt of zero, and they would not be in the middle of a deep depression today. So why isn't anyone proposing that they go to such a system? Instead, everyone's trying to figure out a way that the Greeks can muddle through this depression and keep paying on their unsustainable debts. It is such a tragedy what has happened to Greece. The city of Boston has a larger economy than the entire nation of Greece at this point. But this is what happens to you when you allow the bankers to trap your country in debt. The central banking systems of the world are designed to be endless debt spirals that systematically transfer wealth from the people through the governments and into the hands of the ultra-wealthy. Just look at what's happening in the United States. The U.S. national debt is now more than 5,000 times larger than it was when the Federal Reserve was first created. Greece, Spain, Italy, Portugal, and the rest of the nations of the West world did not get into all this debt by accident. It happened by design. And we can see what happens when the system starts to unravel by looking at what's happening in Greece and Spain right now. The following are 11 things that can happen when you allow your country to become enslaved to the bankers. Number one, at some point, nations that are drowning in debt must implement austerity measures in an attempt to stay solvent. This causes economic slowdown and unemployment skyrockets. We're seeing this happen in Greece, Spain, and a whole bunch of other nations right now. Over the past 4 years, the Greek economy has contracted by close to 25%. Just this week it was announced that the unemployment rate in Greece had risen to 23.1%. A year ago, it was just 16.8%. My friends, when we come back, we will continue to see exactly how we're enslaved to the bankers, what it's getting us, and what the hell we've got to do about it. This is Riell Truth.
Hoover and Harris CPAs in Greeley say back-to-school season is upon us. So drivers, as you take to our roads, please take along the 3 C's of safety: caution, courtesy, and common sense. Do your part in keeping our kids safe. That's from certified public accounting firm of Hoover and Harris CPAs in Greeley, playing a vital and integral role in our community's growth and development for over 40 years. They think our area is a great place to work, live, and raise a family. That's Hoover and Harris CPAs on the air because they care. Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Whether you're in automotive, sporting goods, hardware, health, wellness, electrical, electronics, construction, carpet cleaning, legal, or animal care, and offer exceptional customer service and provide quality services or goods, you're honest, reliable, and professional. If you have a business, we have the customers. Let us put you in touch with our loyal, supportive, and dedicated listeners today. They're waiting to hear from you. It's inexpensive. It's effective. Call KHNC at 1-800-205-6245. Restore Health and Counseling salutes the men and women in uniform who've answered the call for our freedoms. Let's give them the hero's welcome they deserve as they have fought hard to restore peace. America's troops are our angels of protection, so stand up and salute them proudly. That's from Restore Health and Counseling at 4705 Paris Street, serving Northeast Denver with complete substance abuse counseling for adolescent to adult and for private as well as professional drug, alcohol screening and treatment and rehabilitation. Visit us at www.rhctherapy.com or call 303-373-1188.
Welcome back to Riell Truth. We're going to wrap things up. We're looking at the Economic Collapse blog. 11 items, 11 things that can happen when you allow your country to become enslaved to the bankers. Number 2, economic progress can actually go backwards in a debt-based system. The high cost of road tax, fuel, and repairs is forcing Greeks to ditch their cars in huge numbers. The government statistics office, the number of cars on Greek roads declined by more than 40% in each of the last 2 years. Number 3, your banking system will inevitably melt down at some point. Number 4, in all countries with a debt-based system, eventually your taxes will be raised to ridiculous levels. When the income tax was introduced in the U.S. back in 1913, the vast majority of Americans were in the 1% tax bracket. Number 5, your currency slowly but steadily becomes worthless. Since the Federal Reserve was created, the U.S. dollar has declined in value by over 95%. Number 6, when things get bad enough, there will be rioting in the streets. A few weeks ago, a total of more than 1 million public employees took to the streets in more than 80 different Spanish cities. Number 7, when a debt-based economy crashes, money becomes very tight and shortages tend to happen. Number 8, your population will eventually become so desperate that they'll start banding together to loot food and supplies from stores. When people have no work and they can't feed their families, they often find themselves doing things they would never have imagined that they would do. Number 9, if things get bad enough, even essential services may start shutting down. Authorities in Greece are legitimately concerned that there may be interruptions in the supply of natural gas and electricity. Suppliers are leaving bills unpaid for extended periods of time, and one day millions of Greeks may wake up to find that the power to their homes has been cut off. Number 10, in an economic depression, many people begin to totally lose hope. An increasing number of parents in Southern Europe are facing such desperate situations that they are actually abandoning their children. Number 11, just like we saw during the Great Depression in the 1930s, there's a spike in suicides when an economy crashes. Greece has never seen anything like what's happening now. The suicide rate is absolutely soaring. Sadly, most Americans do not realize how we got into this mess. The following is from a recent article by Professor Stephen Yates. He writes the following. It should have been clear that the country, indeed Western civilization itself, was on the wrong trajectory as governments and central banks working in tandem severed ties between their currencies and precious metals. Massive credit expansion to run rampant and the national debt to skyrocket, making, for example, the pseudo-prosperity of the roaring 1990s possible. Closed the gold window on August 15th, 1971. I'm going to skip past that, my friends. We don't need that. Let's finish it up. If you want to see where we're headed, just look at Greece and Spain. They are going through economic hell, and we will be joining them soon enough. Get ready while you can. Unquote. My friends, listen closely to the politicians. Romney, Obama, Paul Ryan, Biden. What kind of solutions are they proffering? As far as I know, Ryan is the only one who suggested anything like a workable solution. Now, you can debate whether or not his budget plan is workable or not. But I'm here to tell you that in the 21st century, politicians want to extend the crises as long as they can, because doing so gives them extra authority, extra power, extra influence, extra money, extra friends in all the industries that benefit from American misery. I'll be back in 23 hours with more Riell Truth, my friends. I hope you will be right here listening, because you need to. I'll be right back tomorrow. Bye-bye.